चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददान्ति सपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सकलरघुनाथान्यतं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सकलललिता श्रीविशाखान्यतांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगल्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निधि नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देव गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण नमः विष्णु राधा कृष्ण स्वामी आचार्य जय। Hare Krishna. Once again, welcome all devotees for our Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading morning session. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we will start with verse number 47 onwards. Hare Krishna. Okay, Shivanapaliji, we'll start verse number 47.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And thank you. 47. Hare Krishna. वैरानुबन्धतीव्रेण ध्यानेनाच्युतसात्मनां नीतौ पुनर्हरेः पार्श्वं जग्मदुर्विष्णुपार्षदौ वैरानुबन्धतीव्रेण ध्यानेनाच्युतसात्मदां नीदौ पुनर्हरे पार्श्वं जग्मदुर्विष्णुपार्षदौ. Hare Krishna. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhajaranadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. These two associates of Lord Vishnu, Jaya and Vijaya, maintained a feeling of enmity for a very long time. Because of always thinking of Krishna in this way, they regained the shelter of the Lord, having returned home back to God. Translation also. These two associates of Lord Vishnu, Jaya and Vijaya, maintained a feeling of enmity for a very long time. Because of always thinking of Krishna in this way, they regained the shelter of the Lord, having returned home back to Godhead. Oh, but whatever their position, certainly Jaya and Vijaya always thought of Krishna. Therefore, at the end of the Maushala Leela, these two associates of the Lord returned to Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's body and Narayana's body. Therefore, although they visibly entered the body of Krishna, they actually re-entered Vaikuntha Loka as the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu. Through Lord Krishna's body, they returned to Vaikuntha, although they seemed to have attained Sayujya Mukti in Krishna's body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu will read the next verse also together.
Yeah, only two verses. So,
Yes.
yeah, of the last verse of the
Yes,
of
Prabhu.
this chapter. Yeah. Okay, Babu. Thank you. Verse number 48. Sri Yudhishthirvaja Vidvesho Deyide Putre Kadamasit Mahatmani Bruhi me Bhagavan Yena Prahladasya Sri Yudhishthiravaja Vidvesha Vidvesho Deyide Putre Kadamasit Mama Atmahatmani Bruhi me Bhagavan Yena Prahladasya Hare Krishna. Translation purported by His Divine Grace Abhijaranaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Maharaja Yudhishthira inquired, O my lord, Narada Muni, why was there such enmity between Hiranyakashipu and his beloved son Prahlad Maharaja? How did Prahlad Maharaja become such a great devotee of the Lord Krishna? Kindly explain this to me. Poet. All the devotees of Lord Krishna are called Achyudatma because they follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaja. Achyuta refers to the infallible Lord Vishnu, whose heart is always infallible. Because the devotees are attached to the infallible, they are called Achyutatma. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purport of the seventh canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. One more chapter over.
Devo. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you
Yes.
very much, Shikmar Prabhu. My humble obeisance to all assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis.
No
So we are
problem.
in the very, very auspicious month of Kartik month, which started from yesterday.
Yes.
So one of the important items in Kartik month, it is recommended that we read and hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So we are very fortunate to assemble and hear
Yes.
Srimad Bhagavatam. And so we are at the end of this first chapter of seventh canto, where this is a discussion between Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj. So if you see the context of what is spoken, uh, the first this discussion is happening between Sutta Goswami and the sages of Naimisaranya. So they are discussing about the Srimad Bhagavatam conversation, where Sutta Goswami is referring to the conversation which he had between Sukadeva Goswami and Parishit Maharaj. When Sukadeva Goswami is describing to Parishit Maharaj, he is referring to another conversation which is happening between Narada Muni and Yudhishthira Maharaj. So in this discussion, we are seeing how Narada Muni is describing the story of Jaya and Vijaya. That is from 36 to 47. Okay, how these four Kumaras were not allowed to go inside, and then the four Kumaras cursed Jaya and Vijaya. They were the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu. So we can see that every temple, if you go to Vishnu temple, inside the inner sanctum, there are two personalities like near the door, both sides. They are actually Jaya and Vijaya. So then the Kumaras were cursed, and Krishna means Lord Vishnu told, okay, if you want to come back to me in a friend, then seven birth, or if enemy means three birth. So then they opted for the second option because they told, oh my Lord, we cannot be separated from you so long. So let us better become your enemies and come back quickly. So then they appeared in this material world as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. We know that then Kumbhakarna and Ravana and then
Ravana.
Dandavakra and Shishupal. The three times they taken birth. So here, 44, 45, first birth is described in 40 to 43 as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Second birth is they appeared as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. This is 44 and 45. And third birth they appeared as uh, your this cousins like Yudhishthira Maharaj cousins Shishupal and Dandavakra. And we know Sisupal was finally beheaded by Lord Krishna by his Sudarshan Chakra. Now, today's verse is actually how they got salvation by absorption of Krishna, but not in the positive way, but in the negative way. So that means that describes the compassionate nature of Krishna that even the souls who are negatively, but they are constantly thinking about the Lord, they are also given prediction of liberation. Same way, Krishna also given liberation to Putana, who came to give poison to Krishna when he was in the baby form. So here we see 47 verse, salvation by absorption. Okay, here we can see Maharaj Yudhishthira, no, this is previous verse, 47. We can see these two associates of the Lord Vishnu, Jaya and Vijaya, maintained a feeling of enmity for a very long time. Long time is 3 births. They are referring to the 3 births. Because of always thinking of Krishna in this way, they regained the shelter of the Lord, having returned home and go back to God. So Prabhupada says that even if you think enmity, but that is not actually devotional service. Because the very famous verse is there, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, means zero material desires. Anya Vilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anukulyena Krishnanu Silanam. That means you have to think of Krishna in a positive, favorable way, not in a negative way like this. And that is called Bhakti Uttamam. That is a higher stage of Bhakti. Krishnanu Silanam, Bhakti Uttamam. But here anyway, here they are thinking negative way because they have taken the position of enemies. Okay, so Prabhupada writes the purport, whatever their position, certainly Jaya and Vijaya always thought of Krishna. So whatever position means, when they were with the Lord in the Vaikuntha also, they were thinking about the Lord. And when they are in the material world also, as enemies, still they were thinking about the Lord. Therefore, at the end of Mausala Leela, Mausala Leela means the final pastimes of the Lord is called Mausala Leela in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's called Mausala Leela. So therefore, at the end of the Mausala Leela, these two associates, Jaya and Vijaya of the Lord, return to Krishna. So there is no one point Prabhupada mentions here. There is no difference between Krishna's body and Narayana's body. Okay, so there is no difference. Therefore, although they visibly entered the body of Krishna, they actually re-entered Vaikuntha Loka because Krishna is residing in Golaka Vrindavan. And Narayana is residing in Lakshmi Narayana, they reside in Vaikuntha Loka. Because these doorkeepers, they are not in the Golaka Vrindavan. They are actually the doorkeepers in the Vaikuntha Loka for Lakshmi Narayana. Okay. So here we can see, even there is no difference between Krishna's body and Narayana's body. So even though they entered, visibly entered through the body of Krishna, they actually re-entered Vaikuntha Loka as the doorkeepers of Lord Vishnu. Okay, through Lord Krishna's body, they return to Vaikuntha. Although they seem to have attained Sayujya Mukti in Krishna's body. So it's very important. Sayujya Mukti means merging into the body of Krishna. So we know that there are 5 kinds of Mukti actually described in the scriptures. That is Sayujya, Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, and Sarshti. So this is what kind of mukti we have. They get here Sayujya, right? Sayujya, right? Sayujya means they actually merge into the Krishna, means merging into the Lord. That's Sayujya. Sarupya means getting a form same like Lord. That's Sarupya. Salokya means residing in the same planet of the Lord. Samipya means getting the affluences same like the Lord. And Sashti. So like this, there are 5 kinds of liberations which the Jivatma attains, and here they have attained Sayujya Mukti in Krishna's body. So this is the end of their episode, how this Jaya Vijaya came down and then they went back to the Lord through merging into the Krishna's body. Now, when this was described by Sukadeva Goswami, when described by Narada Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking a question. Bhagavatam is full of question. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking question. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired. What did he inquire? Oh my Lord, Narada Muni. He is asking, he was surprised. Why there is such enmity between Hiranyakashipu and his beloved son Prahlad Maharaj? Because this is a basic question. Normally the father is very affectionate towards his children. That is a general. Whatever you see in the material world, you're always seeing the father is always affectionate. And except some exceptional cases. So here this is an exceptional case. Now Yudhishthira Maharaj is perplexed. Why a father is actually enemy of his own son? Why there is such enmity? And even though born in an Asuric family, how did Prahlad Maharaj become such a great devotee of the Lord Krishna? Because Prahlad Maharaj is a Mahajan. We say Bhakta Shiromani Prahlad Maharaj. Means he is the Shiromani. Bhakta Shiromani Prahlad Maharaj. Bhakti is a epitome. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking second question. First is about the enmity between the father and the son. And second is how, even though born in an Asuric family, how did Prahlad Maharaj become such a great devotee of Lord Krishna? Kindly explain this to me. So this is the question asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes here, all the devotees of the Lord Krishna are called as Achyutatma. So any devotees of Lord are called Achyutatma. Why they are called Achyutatma? Because they follow in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj. That means they follow the footsteps of Mahajan. Mahajana yeno gata sapantaha. So our devotional service, we are not doing any research from our side. We just follow whatever our previous acharyas are telling. The previous acharyas, they are following the Mahajanas. So ours is called descending process. Descending process means whatever the higher authority says, we accept it, and we have full faith on their instruction. We follow their footsteps. So that is called um, uh, avaroha panta, means descending process of knowledge. The modern materialistic way of getting knowledge is ascending process. Aroha panta means you do research on everything, and then you take so much time to come to conclusion. This is, we follow in the footsteps of the great authority. That is devotional practices. Achyuta refers to the invaluable Lord Vishnu. So the Lord Krishna is also called as Achyuta. Achyuta means one who never falls down. Because as a Jivatma, we fall down from the spiritual world. But Achyuta means the infallible whose heart is always infallible. Because the devotees are attached to the infallible, they are called as Achyutatma. So why the devotees are called Achyutatma? That explanation Prabhupada is giving here. Because the devotees are attached to Lord Vishnu, who is called as Achyuta. And we are following their footsteps of the great Acharyas and Mahajanas, we are called as Achyutatma. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of 7th canto, 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone. So we have total 48 verses here, where we are seeing so much discussion is happening here, beginning from, we can see, first Maharaj Parishit is inquiring about Lord's apparent partiality. So that is the beginning of this chapter, why the Lord is partial to somebody, and he is actually, somebody is favoring, somebody is not favoring. Especially he is favoring to the devotees, and he is not favoring to the demons. Then Sukadeva Goswami is giving an answer for Parishit Maharaj question. During that discussion where Sukadeva Goswami is giving an answer, he is actually referring to a discussion which happened between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Narada Muni. So Narada Muni that time is describing about the Rajasviya sacrifice, where he said how even though Dantavakra and Sisupal, how Krishna given the mukti to them, even though they were actually demons. Then Narada Muni is saying that even though they were having enmity for the Lord, still the Lord actually is giving mukti to them. So that means Narada Muni concludes that if you are absorbed in Krishna, either in a positive or negative way, then still you will attain the benediction from the Lord. So conclusion is somehow concentrate the mind on the Lord. And then here you can see that constantly then what happens, Narada Muni also narrates then how these people have got enmity. Then he is referring to the three births of Jaya and Vijaya, how they were cursed to become as enemies of the Lord. Okay, and the criticism of the Lord is actually two types are there. One is favorable criticism, one is unfavorable criticism. Okay, now favorable criticism means the gopis also criticize Krishna always. That is actually favorable criticism. And unfavorable criticism is actually like Sisupal. Okay, so whatever ways, but if you are thinking about the Lord, it is actually we are getting purified. But Prabhupada says that Anukulena Krishna Anusilan. We have to think the Lord in the favorable terms, not in the negative or enmity ways. That is not good. And then Narada Muni is describing the story of Jaya and Vijaya. When Narada Muni is describing, finally the Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking next question, which will go to the next chapter, chapter number 2, why there is enmity between Hiranyakashipu and his son Prahlad. And now on Prahlad, how did he become such a great devotee of Krishna? So now we go to the Canto chapter 2. Then Narada Muni is going to give the description of the life of Hiranyakashipu. So this chapter is entitled Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. Correct.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll continue, Prabhuji, with that.
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Okay, so I think nobody has any doubt in the first chapter. Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Lucky
Prabhu.
to hear from you. So, chapter 2, we can read with 12. Okay, somebody want to start reading
Hare
the
Krishna
introduction?
Prabhu.
Introduction. Okay, Madhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2.
Guruji, we will
Hiranyakasipu.
read the complete or stanza by stanza we will go. So,
We can read complete, Prabhu.
okay. Then have a small this thing. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
Prabhu.
you.
Yes.
Hiranyakasipu, king of the demons. As described in this chapter, after the annihilation of Hiranyaksha's son and his brother Hiranyakasipu were very much aggrieved. Hiranyakasipu reacted very sinfully by trying to diminish the religious activities of people in general. However, he instructed his nephews about a history just to diminish their aggrievement. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as the boar and killed Hiranyakasipu's brother Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakasipu was very much aggrieved. In anger, he accused the Supreme Personality of Godhead of being partial to his devotees and derided the Lord's appearance as Varaha to kill his brother. He began to agitate all the demons and Rakshasas and disturb the ritualistic ceremonies of the peaceful sages and other inhabitants of earth for want of the performance of yajna, sacrifice. The demigods began wandering unseen on earth. After finishing the ritualistic funeral ceremonies of his brother, Hiranyakasipu began speaking to his nephews, quoting from the Shastras about the truth of life to pacify them. He spoke as follows: My dear nephews, for heroes to die before the enemy is glorious. According to their different fruitive activities, living entities come together within this material world and are again separated by the laws of nature. We should always know, however, that the spirit soul, which is different from the body, is eternal, inadjustable, pure, all pervading, and aware of everything. When bound by the material energy, the soul takes birth in higher or lower species of life according to varying association, and in this way receives various types of bodies in which to suffer or enjoy. One's affiliation by the conditions of material existence is the cause of happiness and distress. There are no other causes, and one should not be aggrieved upon seeing the superficial actions of karma. Hiranyakasipu then related a historical incident concerning a king, uh, Yu- 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 Yuyagna,
Suyajana. Suyajna.
Suyajana,
Yeah.
Suyajana, who resided in the country named uh, Usinara. When the king was killed, his queens, overwhelmed with grief, received instructions, which Hiranyakasipu quoted to his nephews. Hiranyakasipu related on account of Kulinga bird pierced by the arrow of hunter while lamenting for his wife, who had also been shot by the same hunter. By narrating these stories, Hiranyakasipu pacified his nephews and other relatives and relieved them of lamentation. Thus, having been pacified, Diti and Rishabhanu, Hiranyakasipu's mother and sister-in-law, engaged their minds in spiritual understanding. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we are entering into the second chapter of seventh canto, entitled Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. So here we have total 61 verses in this chapter and divided into two sections. The first 16 verses is describing about Hiranyakashipu's reaction after his brother Hiranyaksha's death. So that is 16 verses. So first we saw the paragraph when we read also, we saw that how they are all like very angry with the Lord and also deriding the Lord of his Varaha Murti appearance. So that is the first 16 verses are describing about the reaction of his brother's death. But 17 to 61 is mainly philosophy. Hiranyakashipu consoles his relatives. That means how he is giving a lot of philosophy here. It is very interesting. He is telling some stories also about King Suyajna, and also he is telling about the Kulinga bird. It is something same like we are reading Bhagavad Gita. So as a Asura, he is actually giving so much philosophy that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul, our life is temporary. Sometimes we all come together by the force of time, we are separated like that. He is telling so many good things to pacify his relatives, including his mother, sister-in-law, everybody. So he's telling, don't need to worry like that. But problem is, even though he speaks nice philosophy, but he's not following anything. Inside is very dirty, like demonic tendency is there. So one lesson we learn is externally people may speak, but we should see what is their internal mood, or we should see what is their activities. In Kali Yuga, we should not just blindly believe by people who are speaking very nicely, but inside they may be demonic. There are like a lot of false Swamijis also. They also speak very nicely, and sometimes people are getting cheated by that. So that is one important lesson we should say. Externally, people may speak, but what is their attitude and what is their activities, we should always be careful about that. When unless a person what he does not walk his talk, we should not associate, or we should not believe those people. So that is second. Hiranyakashipu consoles his relatives. Here we can see after the Hiranyaksha was means killed by the Lord in the form of Varaha, one of the famous Dasavatar, Varaha Murti. We have nice temples, Varaha Murti, Kshetra in Tamil Nadu also. In many places of India we have Varaha Murti temple in Andhra also. I do not know in Kerala you have Varaha Murti temple, bro. Kerala also we have. In Tamil Nadu we have, Andhra we have. So in North India also some places there.
I don't think so.
Okay. So Varahamurti, if the Lord is celebrated, the deity will be in the form of Varaha Deva. Big temple is there in Tamil Nadu. Dedicated for Varaham. So as Varahamurti, now he is actually deriding the Lord. Because why the Lord killed him? Because they were creating so much havoc. They were actually torturing the Brahmanas, and they were stopping all the yajnas. And the demigods, the demigods get power when there is sacrifice. In Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says that you have to do sacrifice. By sacrifice, the demigods are pleased. And then they will give you rains. Like that one sloka is there, if you remember. So the demigods get their nourishment by sacrifices, whatever the human beings are doing. So when the demons, they stopped all the sacrifices of the saints and sages, then what happened? The yajna was stopped, and the demigods began wandering unseen on earth, not visible, but they began to start. They did not have any other further shelter. So even the demigods are in higher position. They are also subjected to suffering. That is what we are understanding from here. Now that is first part. They are actually very angry for killing his brother, and he is actually disturbing the sacrifices, and also he is actually blaspheming the Lord. This is the first section. Second section, Prabhupada writes here we see from third paragraph we see. After that, Hiranyakashipu want to console his nephews from his quoting from the Shastra. See, that means he is a very knowledgeable. Even it is said that King Ravana also is very knowledgeable on the Shastras. But what is the use? If you know the Shastra, but if you don't implement in life, then there is no use. Okay, so here we can see Ravana also, Hiranyakashipu also, he knows Shastra, but he did not follow. So he is telling like many things he is telling here, you see, that we are not this bodies, and he's telling according to our karma, the living entities, we are coming together as brothers, sisters, and according to the laws of this material nature, we are again getting separated. So we should know that the spirit soul is different from the body. It is eternal, it is pure, and this one. And okay, when born by the soul takes birth in higher or lower species, according to the association, Karanam Gunasangasya, and one's condition, the suffering or happiness is because of his own karma, and there are no other causes except the karma. Then, for understanding this philosophy, like we have Bhagavad Gita philosophy, to understand the philosophy, we have Bhagavatam, many stories are there. Like that, for explaining this philosophy, Hiranyakashipu is narrating the historical incident. between King Suyajna and his queens. Okay, when the king was killed, the queens were actually in grief. So that story is narrating. And then he's also narrating the account of Kulinga bird, pierced by the arrow of hunter while lamenting for his wife. What happened? This Prabhupada also narrates the story, the some of his classes. The other girl and the other bird also will come when this bird was shot. No? So the hunter will shoot this bird also. So both will lose their life. So Prabhupada is saying that, when in that story, Prabhupada is instructing that at least when we see others are affected, we should not get entangled into the same problem again. So here, finally, is pacifying Diti, his mother, and also Rishabhanu, his sister-in-law. That is means Hiranyaksha wife. So, and because of their instructions, they become little more, engage their minds in spiritual understanding. So this is a summary, overview, you can say, overview of this chapter. So before going to the chapter, if you know, then we can understand. This will be the further slokas, but it will be more in detail with Prabhupada purport. So we can see, we can go to the verse number 1. Hare Krishna.
Guruji, this Kulinga bird, what was the connection?
Mataji has put Lakshmi Varaha temple in Trivandrum. Okay, Mataji, thank you. Thank you very much. So that means in Trivandrum.
Yes.
So
Because it's
visited
Sundar
Mataji.
Nityananda Prabhuji's class I had, and I wrote in that. And in Tirupati, before it was Adivaraha Kshetram.
Correct.
Then Balaji taken that place.
Balaji taken, yes, correct. Mataji.
Same way Trivandrum Lakshmi Varaha Kshetram.
Very nice, Mataji, very nice.
Lakshmi Varaha
So,
Kshetra.
yeah.
Yes.
So when we go to next time Trivandrum, you can plan to visit there.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing that. Okay,
Hare
now,
Krishna.
we will go, Prabhu, to first verse.
Guruji, this Kulinga bird, what was the relation? This I didn't.
Kulinga bird actually, see, this bird is there. It is pierced by the arrow of a hunter during hunting. What happened? This wife, like, there's two birds. Okay, the wife is shot. Okay, Prabhu, first wife is shot.
Yeah.
Female bird. So this male bird, instead of escaping from that place, it is sitting in the same place and lamenting for the wife bird. Okay. So that time what the hunter is doing, he's taking another arrow and shooting that also. So this bird also lost a life. So better he is telling, when you see, like sometimes, we are seeing in our family also somebody not taking Krishna conscious. Instead of lamenting, we should first try to escape this material world. Of course, we give. And Prabhupada says many things, like sometimes you see grahasthas are, suffering. Instead of you also getting trapped into grahastha life, you become better become brahmachari. Don't fall into the same trap. So like that, in many contexts, Prabhupada is explaining in these lectures. Like when you know there is a danger, you should not be in that area, even though it may be like your close ones are there, because you will also be affected by the danger. Like they are saying, when you go in the air flight, they are saying you and your family members with child, they are saying, first you should wear the mask for you, right? Then only, after that only you can put the mask for your child also. Right, Prabhu? They are announcing like that, right? So always is first you have to save yourself. Then once you are saving yourself, then you try to save others. But when you are self in danger, and even for us in our industries, they will tell when you are rescuing somebody, then the training, they will tell that first you should be in safe position. You cannot put yourself into risk. In that way, you should not rescue anybody. You should be first safe. So like that, they will tell in the training. Same thing here. So this bird was lamenting because of its other female bird was shot. And it was lamenting and it did not fly. Because any of these bird is shot, you should fly away, right? This bird did not fly. It was simply sitting nearby. The hunter took another arrow and shot this bird.
Yes. Thank you.
This thing, it will be there, Prabhu. The verse will be there. Detail, Prabhupada will write all the purport and all. It's only overview, so short. But in detail, it will come in the following when we said we read further. This will have more detail. We can see.
Yes. Okay. So we'll go to verse number 1. 7.2.1. Want to read?
Ganesha Prabhuji?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Somebody else is there? Gita Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
After that, after you please read this one, I will read the second verse.
Narada Uvacha. सादत्येवं विनिहते हरिणा क्रोडमूर्तिना हिरण्यकशिपु राजन् पर्यतप्यदुषाशुच श्रीनारद उवाच सादर्येवं विनिहते हरिणा क्रोडमूर्तिना हिरण्यकशिपु राजन् पर्यतप्यदुषाशुच. Translation. Sri Narada Muni said, "My dear King Yudhishthira, when Lord Vishnu in the form of Varaha, the boar, killed Hiranyasha's brother Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry and began to lament. Purpose. Yudhishthira had injured from Narada Muni by Hiranyakashipu was so envious of his own son Prahlada. Narada Muni began narrating the story by explaining how Hiranyakashipu had become a staunch enemy of Lord Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
So,
Brother.
we are beginning this first verse where Narada Muni begins speaking, because the previous canto, last chapter, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked the question. So, why they became enemies and why Hiranyakashipu was enemy for his own son, Prahlad Maharaj, and how Prahlad Maharaj became an exalted devotee of the Lord. So now Narada Muni begins replying to Yudhishthira Maharaj's question. So the Narada Muni said, "My dear King Yudhishthira, so when Lord Vishnu, in the form of Varaha avatar, the boar, killed Hiranyaksha brother Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry and began to lament. So as a brother was killed, so normally Hiranyakashipu became very angry because they are from the demonic family. So we know Kashyapa Muni, Diti and Aditi. Aditi, their progeny is all demigods, and Diti actually is all the progeny. So Kashyapa Muni had both Diti and Aditi, their wife. So Aditi means all their progeny is demigods, and Diti is all the demons. So Hiranyaksha's brother was killed by the Lord because he was doing so much atrocities. So, but Hiranyakashipu was very angry on Lord Vishnu because his brother was killed. So he wanted to take revenge. So Yudhishthira Maharaj had inquired from Narada Muni why Hiranyakashipu was so envious of his own son Prahlad. Narada Muni began narrating the story by explaining how Hiranyakashipu had become a staunch enemy of Lord Vishnu. Prabhupada has given this. Let us go to verse number 2.
Yes.
Hare Prabhuji.
Bhagavad-ji.
आहश्चेदं वृषा पूर्णा सन्दस्तादशनच्छदः कोपोज्ज्वलभ्यां चक्षुरुभ्यां निरीक्षन् धूम्रमम्बरम् आहश्चेदं वृषपूर्णा सन्दस्तादशनच्छदः कोपोज्ज्वलभ्यां चक्षुरुभ्यां निरीक्षं धूम्रम् अम्बरम्. Translation. Filled with rage and biting his lips, Hiranyakashipu gazed at the sky with eyes that blazed in anger, making the whole sky smoky. Thus he began to speak. Translation once more. Filled with rage and biting his lips, Hiranyakashipu gazed at the sky with eyes that blazed in anger, making the whole sky smoky. Thus he began to speak. Purport. As usual, the demon is envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and inimical toward him. These were Hiranyakashipu's external bodily features as he considered how to kill Lord Vishnu and they devastate his kingdom, Vaikuntha-loka. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Brother.
So here now we start the reaction of Hiranyakashipu. How Hiranyakashipu was very angry. He was actually filled with rage, means anger, and biting his lips. Now somebody is become angry, they bite the lips normally. Hiranyakashipu gazed at the sky with eyes that blazed in anger. So it was like his eyes were reddish, making the whole sky smoky. It's a very powerful person actually. Thus he began to speak. So now we can see now Hiranyakashipu is beginning to speak. After he's internally disturbed, then that will be manifested as external actions. So now he's internally disturbed. That's what. Then he began to show his activities, like he started speaking. As usual, Prabhupada writes, the demon is envious of the Supreme Personality of God and inimical towards him. So demon means it is people like sometimes we think demon means a different figure. No, demon means it's an attitude. And usually the scriptures, the demon nature is given. Who is a demon, like that. The demon means one who wants to enjoy God's property without God is called demon. So anybody is involved too much into sense gratification is called demon, according to the Shastra. Okay? Because they don't want God, but they want God's property. Somebody says, I don't want my father, but I want my father's property. Then that son is called as he's not called as a good son, right? So like that, demon means one who wants God's property, one wants to, not God, one wants to enjoy God's property without God. So any person, any normal human being, he's having this attitude, it is a demonic attitude. And when they have that attitude, normally what happens? He's envious of the supreme personality of God and inimical towards him. So anybody is having this enjoying propensity more, they don't like God very much. Maybe they even go to God temple, but they want more and more for their sense gratification. So that is demonic mentality. So these were Hiranyakashipu's external bodily features. Okay, as he considered how to kill Lord Vishnu and devastate his kingdom, Vaikuntha Loka. So in modern days also, there are like lot of Prabhupada writes that there are a lot of Hiranyakashipu who want to kill actually God. Sometimes they are in the cover of a sadhu also. Sometimes they don't glorify God. They try to take up the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and they hide Krishna. They don't tell about glorify the Lord. Actually, all the instructions we get only by Krishna's mercy. But they will take their knowledge and they will try to remove Krishna from that and try to project, they try to get name and fame. So like that, people want to kill God. But Prabhupada says nobody can kill God, but God will kill everybody in the form of time. Mrityu sarva haraschaham, Krishna says in Bhagavatam. As time factor and as death, he will kill. Kalos me. And Krishna is saying that as a time factor, I will kill everybody. But people trying to kill God in modern days, people say there is no God and like that. So these are actually exhibition of demonic tendencies. So we can see that. And we can go to the next verse from verse number 4 to 12. Actually, Hiranyakashipu is actually
3,
instructing.
4 and 5.
Yes, Prabhu.
3,
4
4
and 5.
and 5, Prabhuji. No, only
Yes, no,
translation.
but you can read 4 and 5, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So now it is actually 4 to 12 is actually Hiranyakashipu instructing the demons.
Somebody want to read? Somebody all covered once. Okay. I'll read it. It's number 3.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Bhagavad.
Verse number 3. करालप्रक्षोभदृष्ट्या दुर्प्रेक्ष्ये भृगुडीमुख शूलमुद्यम्य सरसि दानवादिनमब्रवीत् करालग्रंष्टोग्रदृष्ट्या दुर्प्रेक्ष्य भृगुडीमुख शूलमुद्यम्य सरसि दानवादिनम् अब्रवीत्. Translation: exhibiting his terrible teeth, fierce glance, and frowning eyebrows, terrible to see, he took up his weapon, a trident, and thus began speaking to his associates, the assembled demons. Translation once more: exhibiting his terrible teeth, fierce glance, and frowning eyebrows, terrible to see, he took up his weapon, a trident, and thus began speaking to his associates, the assembled demons.
Okay, Bhagavad. Next one also, Bhagavad.
Yeah, we will go up to 6, Prabhu, today.
Yeah.
Up to 6. Yeah, okay.
Verse number 4 and 5. भो दानवैदैतेयो विनूर्थां स्त्रह्य शम्बर शतबाहो हयग्रीव महुजे पाद इल्लन विप्रचित्ते मम भज पुलोमन् शगुनादय शृणुदानन्दरं सर्वे प्रियतामाशुमाचिरन् भो दानवदैतेयो विनूर्थं स्त्रह्य शम्बर शतबाहो हयग्रीव महुजे पाद इल्लन विप्रचित्ते मम वज पुलोमन् शगुनादय शृणुदानन्दरं सर्वे प्रियतामाशु माचिरन्. O Danavas and Daityas, O Divimurta, Treksha, Shambara and Sadabahu, O Hayagriva, Namuji, Paga and Illala, O Viprajitti,
Puloman,
Viprajiti, Puloman, Shaguna, and other demons. All of you kindly hear me attentively and then act according to my words without delay. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So we'll go to, I will read it verse number 6. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. घातितः क्षुद्रैर्भ्राता मे देयिद प्राश्निग्राहेण हरिणा समेनाप्युपधावनैः सपत्नैर्घातितः क्षुद्रैर्भ्राता मे देयिदः सुह्यत् पार्ष्णिग्राहेण हरिणा समेनाप्युपधावनैः. Translation purported by His Divine Grace Abhijayanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My insignificant enemies and demons have combined to kill my very dear and obedient well-wisher, my brother Hiranyaksha. Although the Supreme Lord Vishnu is always equal to both of us, namely the demigods and the demons, this time being devoutly worshipped by the demigods, he has taken their side and helped them kill Hiranyaksha. Translation once more. My insignificant enemies, the demigods, have combined to kill my very dear and obedient well-wisher, my brother Hiranyaksha. Although the Supreme Lord Vishnu is always equal to both of us, namely the demigods and the demons, this time being devoutly worshipped by the demigods, he has taken their side and helped them kill Hiranyaksha. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.29, Samo aham sarva bhuteshu. The Lord is equal to all living entities. Since the demigods and the demons are both living entities, how is it possible that the Lord was partial to one class of living beings and opposed to another? Actually, it is not possible for the Lord to be partial. Nonetheless, since the demigods, the devotees always strictly follow the Supreme Lord's orders, because of sincerity, they are victorious over the demons, who know that the Supreme Lord is Vishnu, but do not follow his instructions. Supreme Lord is Vishnu, but do not follow his instructions. Because of constantly remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, the demons generally attain Sayujya Mukti after death. The demon Hiranyakashipu accused the Lord of being partial because the demigod worshipped him, but in fact the Lord, like the government, is not partial at all. The government is not partial to any citizen, but if a citizen is law-abiding, he receives abundant opportunities from the state laws to live peacefully and fulfill his real interests.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So we are coming to the verse number 6. Actually, here it is said that how Hiranyakashipu is speaking to his demons, that he is telling the demigods are his insignificant enemies. They have combined together and killed my dear and obedient well-wisher, my brother Hiranyaksha. And he's saying that although the Lord is supposed to be equal to both of us for demigods and demons, this time what the Lord has done, because the demigods worshipped him, he has been partial to them. He has taken the side of the demigods and help them to kill Hiranyaksha. So he is very upset on this, that the Lord has taken the side of the demigods. So Prabhupada is writing, referring to the Bhagavad Gita 9.29, very important word. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. So the Lord is actually always equal to, can say all living. That's called Samoham sarva bhuteshu. Is awkward. But both are, because all are living entities only. So how the Lord can be partial to one class and other is opposed to other. So here Prabhupada is giving the answer for this. He is putting the question how it is possible to be partial to demigods and not partial to demons. So here the explanation Prabhupada himself giving, nonetheless, since the demigods, the devotees always strictly follow the Supreme Lord orders. Because of sincerity, they are victorious over demons who know that the Supreme Lord is Vishnu but do not follow his instructions. These people, the demons, they know the Lord is Vishnu but they will not follow. Because of constantly remembering the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, the demons generally attain Sayuja Mukti. We already discussed Sayuja Mukti means merging into the body of the Lord. The demon Hiranyakashipu accused the Lord of being partial because demigods worshipped him. But in fact, the Lord like government. So Prabhupada is giving an analogy here, government analogy. The government is not partial to any persons. The government is not partial to any citizen. But if a citizen is law-abiding, he receives abundant opportunities from state laws to live peaceful and fulfill his real interest. So very nice point here. Like I don't know, India also this facility may be there. In America, there is a point, Cyril point. I don't know, something in India called Cyril point. They also have some points. That means every person will have a unique number. Like we have civil ID here. In India also we have other like that. So if the citizen is following the rules, traffic rules properly, he is taking loan properly, means repaying the loan properly, then they are giving points. Government will give points. So in America, even if you are going to take one house for rent, they will see the point. The house owner will see the point, whether you are having good points. Then only they will give the house to you. If suppose you are breaking the laws, traffic rules, then your points will come negative. It will reduce. And you are not paying loan on time. Now I introduced in India also, they introduced this one. Actually, here also it is there. Maybe Prabhuji, you know, no? Your Gulf Bank, maybe you will check, right? Somebody paying the loan properly, then they get good points, right? Otherwise, when taking loan, they will check with the civil ID whether he has previous dues or something not paying properly, like that, before sanctioning. So this, I heard in India also, this is there. They are seeing these points. Now they are introduced or already it is in place. So the government is seeing who is law-abiding citizen and they are giving marks. And whenever you're going for some facility you want to avail from government, immediately government is checking whether you are a law-abiding citizen. If you are a law-abiding citizen, according to the records, then immediately you will get, their loan will be sanctioned, whatever the facility the government give, sometimes of the subsidy or something, immediately they will sanction. That's a proposing law-abiding citizen, he receives abundant opportunities from the state laws, from the state to live peacefully. But if the government knows that you are not following properly, whatever rules set by not playing and not obeying to the rules, then they will get negative marks. Then you will not get any facility from the government. Same way here, demons and demigods, you can see two categories of living entities are there. The demigods, they strictly follow the Supreme Lord order. But the demons, even though they know that this is Lord's order, they will not follow it. So that's why the Lord is trying to support he's sanctioning the wishes of the demigods, whereas he is not sanctioning the wishes of the demons. As the example is given, how the government is not partial, but who are following the law, the government will give the opportunity for their growth and peace. But who are not following the law, they will not be considered for the government subsidies. So this is the understanding. Very beautifully Prabhupada has explained that. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, anybody without?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Pranam, Prabhu. Prabhu,
Pranam.
Saijya Mukti means that they merge into the Lord's body, right?
Yeah, yes. Merging into the body. To become one with the Lord.
And this sloka, the demons are merging into the Lord's body?
Yes, Mataji. The demons are merging into the Lord's body. That means whenever the Lord will kill, not simply they will not. When the Lord will kill them, then they will merge in like Sisupal. That light merged into Krishna's body. In the assembly, everybody was able to see the Rajasvi, the sacrifice, no? So here also, when Hiranyaksha killed, he merged in Lord's body. When the Lord will kill Hiranyakashipu also, he will merge in the Lord's body. So whenever the Lord kills a demon, they merge it, they get Saijam, means they merge. But for devotees, they are not, they don't want the Saijam Mukti. Because
They want to serve.
the Lord. Yes, very. So the example is given like I want to become sugar and I want to taste sugar. Which is better? So I want to taste sugar is better, right? Than I want to become sugar. So Sayuja Mukti is like I want to become sugar. So devotee stand is I want to taste sugar. Means they want to relish the devotional service, serving the Lord. If you merge, there is no chance for service.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Correct. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Any other further
Okay.
questions, comments?
I think.
Okay, Prabhu. So if
Okay,
there is
thank
no
you, Guruji. I think there is Guruji in the thing. So we will chant 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Shugana Praji, as well as all the devotees who are present today for everybody's spiritual progress. Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
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 Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Rama Rama,
Vancha
Hare Hare.
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha paritana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Anta Kodi
Ananda
Vaishnav.
Godi Vaishnava ki Jai Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada.